Good morning, folks. Although it's not. It says it's 8:15 p.m. So today, well, I'm an official old fogey. Today is my 60th birthday. Happy birthday to me. One of the things I got is a whiskey bottle. Never heard of this before. Basil Hayden Dark Rye, Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey blended with Canadian Rye Whiskey and port wine, artificially aged. So how do you artificially age something? I mean, I'm aged 60 years, so what? How do you? I don't understand that. It is pretty tasty stuff. I did have a swig of it, but anyway, today was a day of kind of nothing. Once again, I got the fan going in here. I got my wolf pelt here going as far as drying. The paws are the main thing. They're starting to stiffen up. The legs and things where I can feel them that are exposed or drying. The rest of it feels pretty good. I worry about the paws and the ears. Those are the slippage points. The main body of the pelt is pretty safe, actually, as far as rot goes. It's not that thin. You scrape off all the fat that you can. It's actually pretty stable. Like I say, the paws and the ears are the two places, if there's going to be a problem, that's where they're going to be from. So, anyway, I got the fan going. My fire has died out. The wood stove over here, this old potbelly stove. I don't know, it's pretty dark in here, but that old potbelly stove is really cool, but it doesn't hold the fire really all that long. So it's, I don't know, it's probably 60, 65 in here. Earlier in the day it was 70, and that's kind of what you want for those to be drying. But anyhow, I got this book. My Uncle Bill gave me this years ago. It's from 1908, and from a fella named Francis, Francis H., I think. Let me see, it's not on here. Francis Buzzicott, anyway. Yes. Francis H. Buzzicott. This is the guy here. 40 years, a trapper, hunter, and guide. Okay, so, back in the early 1900s, there was a lot of these writers that become famous for camping, hunting, trapping, stuff like that. Hawbacher was one of them. He did a lot of trapping lures and things. Nesmuk was another one. Horace Kepper, he was another one. Colonel Thompson Whalen, he was another one. But I never heard of Francis H. Buzzicott until I saw this book. And he actually wrote quite a few books. And they're pretty interesting. One of the things in here, I was telling Dave Morelli from Morelli's Tactical Advantage here on YouTube about this book I had, and about a wire-patched bullet. And I guess what I need to do here is get out my bullet collection and show you what I'm talking about. But a cast bullet, a lead cast bullet, generally will have grooves cut in it for lubrication, and it's animal grease, basically, animal grease mixed with beeswax, and it keeps, man, it's hard to explain, and if you don't know, if you're not a gun person, it's kind of hard, but you're rifling in a barrel, in your rifle barrel, gun barrel. It has real thin little grooves in there that twist, and what that does is it makes your bullet, as it's coming out the barrel, it makes it spin, and for whatever reason, spinning and going fast is a lot more accurate than just going fast. That spin, it kind of works like a gyroscope, I suppose. It makes it, I don't know how to even put that, but it makes it basically more accurate than it would be from a smooth barrel. A smooth bore, they're kind of all over the place. It's like a shotgun. They're way less accurate than one that is spinning for whatever reason. And the trouble is with soft lead, with a muzzle loader or black powder cartridge, soft lead works just fine. It's not going fast enough to basically skip over the twists of the grooves in the barrel, if that makes any sense. I don't know. But you want something that is harder. The metal in the bullet is harder to grab the rifling grooves in your barrel, so it spins, and it ends up making it more accurate. If it's too soft, a lot of times it just kind of shaves off the metal, and it doesn't spin fast enough to make it very, very accurate. And over the years, they have done different things to try to make that where it is more accurate and yet effective. The softer lead, when it hits, it kind of splatters because it's soft. It hits an animal and it opens up. You got a little tiny hole like this, and then it hits the animal and it goes like that, and that makes a bigger wound channel, and to put it nicely, it kills them better because it's more damage. And you get harder metal, like harder lead alloys and things, it doesn't open up. You got that little bullet and it goes right on through, and it doesn't do that. And so there is less damage, and there's a greater chance of wounding the animal. And nowadays, well, let me grab these bullets. I'll kind of explain what I'm talking about here. Okay, so this is my bullet collection. I got lots of really cool stuff in here. This one, that's a 50 BMG, which stands for Browning Machine Gun. I got some others in here that are on the other end of the scale that are just dinky. But, okay, so what we got here, let's see, let me find one. Alright, so this bullet here, no, that one has a copper jacket. This bullet here is a soft lead tip with a copper jacket, and that copper runs on your lube grooves, and because the copper is harder than the lead tip, it grabs the rifling and it spins better. You get another one like this little guy here, it's all lead, and it's soft all the way down, even into the case here. The bullet goes down probably this far. Whoops. Probably this far or so, where my fingernail is. That, at higher speed, it hits that spin, and it is likely to shave the lead off of the bullet, and it's not going to be as accurate. Well, this one, with that half copper jacket, that's going to grab the rifling, and it's not going to shave lead off because it's harder than the lead. Now, the early buffalo rifles and things, the way they got around that is they used paper. They had a paper jacket. They'd wrap the paper around the lead, and that would rub on your rifling. And this one's getting kind of tattered, but it wouldn't stick into your rifling grooves because the paper was rubbing on it and not the metal itself. Even though it's all soft lead, that paper kept it from gumming up your barrel, basically. So, back in 1908, when this book was written by Francis H. Buzzacott, there's a thing called a wire patched bullet. And what that is they had taken a lead bullet and they had wrapped wire around the bullet to basically make the copper jacket like we know today. And until this book, I never heard of a wire patched bullet. What they were doing was they were using, of all things, they were using steel wire, not copper, but steel wire that was canvas coated and then lubricated with lard or beeswax, or a mix of lard and beeswax, animal grease, to basically take the place of what we have today as a copper jacket. But according to this book, it says that the new wire patch bullet is far superior to any other kind, and it will soon replace all others. And like I say, that's 1908, and I had never heard of it before except for in this book here. So anyway, this summer I happen to have a bullet mold for a 4570 that takes a paper patched bullet, and it's undersized because the paper wrappings that you make the jacket out of actually shim it up to the size of the bullet diameter it should be. And what I'm thinking is, if I were to, I don't want to use steel wire, that's for sure. That's going to probably mess up your barrel, even though this says it doesn't. But I'm thinking if I got some fine copper wire and I wrap it around that bullet and then lubricate it and load it up, I want to see just how they do. You know, the idea seems kind of sound, unless the wire somehow unwraps before it gets to the target. Then they're going to be all over the place. But as long as they are pressed into the lead good enough that they stay there until it hits the target, I could see where that could actually work pretty well. So anyway, that's something to play with, but right now I don't have time enough to play with any of this. But when I go to casting some bullets this summer, that is one of the goals I want to have. And anyway, have any of you folks ever heard of a wire patched bullet? I mean, like I say, this book was written in 1908, and it's got all sorts of cool stuff in it. Look at this. It's basically a camping book. It you know, how to build and use right. I don't know what that actually is. It's a camp, I guess. The campfire, range oven, etc. Camp combination fire. It's got camp furniture. Different ideas for making your camp better. Hatchets. Different things. Backpacks, knives, tents. I mean, this is a neat book, and one of these days I want to go through this and show this better. But it, like I say, 1908 is when this was published. But nothing has come of the wire patched bullet. They ended up making basically jacketed bullets that were along the same lines, but they were solid cups of copper instead of wire. So I don't know if that would work very well or not. Anyway, that's something for another day. For tonight, by golly, it's my birthday and I'm having me a whiskey. See you folks tomorrow. Good night. Bye.